Hi, I'm Jon Kirkman. Remember this? Yeah, Toyah's first album, Sheep Farming in Barnet. Now, this has just been reissued in a really great expanded edition. There's 3 discs, 2 CDs and a DVD. Now, when I first bought this, it was actually a 6-track EP. It was the second release from Toyah. The very first release, I think, was a single called Victims of the Riddle. And Toyah had been making a bit of a name for herself for the previous few years. This was in late 1979, early 1980 when this album came out. But of course in 1977 she was in the Derek Jarman film Jubilee, along with people like Adam Ant. And as I said, that was a very, very groundbreaking film at the time. But Toyah was an actress as well. She'd also appeared in a few other films as well, and including a film with that wonderful actress Katharine Hepburn. She got into trouble in that film, and she tells you why in the interview, which is on the DVD here. My favourite tracks on this, I have to say, are things like Danced and Neon Womb and things like this. Also the bonus tracks, Tribal Look and Bird in Flight. Now I can remember when Bird in Flight came out, and I really thought that was going to be the crossover hit for Toyah and the breakout hit. It wasn't. She had to wait about 6-7 months after that, and of course she had a huge hit with the Fall from Toyah EP, It's a Mystery, which of course came out I think after The Blue Meaning, which is the next album, which is coming out in May of this year, so we'll be doing a thing on that. On here you get lots of bonus tracks, like the shoestring version of some of the tracks like Danced. If you remember, Toyah was, or the Toyah band as they were then, were playing a part in an episode of Shoestring, which was a kind of crime drama with a radio kind of background thing with it. Eddie Shoestring, played by Trevor Reeve, was the private ear, and he got involved in these crime cases and things that couldn't be solved. Anyway, Toyah was in that, and they were playing at a nightclub, and basically they were being sorted out by their manager in a wrong way, who was played by Christopher Biggins, and he murdered, or sort of it, that Gary Holton, not in real life I might add, but who was the previous bass player allegedly in the band, who were called Toyah in this particular episode. Anyway, there was quite a few big names in that particular episode, but they got, I think, 3 or 4 songs from Toyah in that particular episode of Shoestring, and they're on here as bonus tracks. Now the great thing about the DVD, there's lots of bonus material here, including the whistle test and also an interview with Toyah where she tells you all about this cover. Now this is an interesting cover here, as you say. There's the Toyah logo, but this picture was really striking. Now what I didn't know at the time, but subsequently found out, that this was Britain's early warning system here, and they went up and took the photos, and I won't give it away, but it's not the sort of thing that your average person is allowed to sort of get in and stand next to for happy snaps for the family. So they went in, had it all worked out, had the photo taken, so it's like Toyah, then like that, and it went down. Anyway, they got the photo for the cover, and I won't tell you how they managed to get it out, because they were stopped by the military police, I think. Toyah tells you on the interview DVD where she put the film. It's not quite as bad as that, but they did have to smuggle that out. Also, there's a great acoustic session, and one of the tracks is Bird in Flight on this. And as I said, it's a great song, and I really thought that was going to be the breakout song for Toyah. But unfortunately, that wasn't to be for another 7 or 8 months when Fall from Toyah EP came out. Of course, It's a Mystery. Most people remember that, but she'd already had 2 albums out at that point. As I said, in May of this year, the next album, which is called The Blue Meaning, that's actually going to be coming out, and I would imagine there's going to be lots of digital extras on there as well. Oh dear, dropping the DVD here, but there you go. That is the 3 discs. And I've been told as well that all of the Safari albums will be coming out, so you will get things like The Blue Meaning, Toyah, 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 which is the live album. Then you'll get Anthem, The Changeling, possibly Warrior Rock, and Love is the Law, which was the final album for Toyah on the Safari label. She signed to Portrait, which was part of Sony after that. Now there's another full size photo from the sessions where they took the photos for the cover, and I believe the first photo that they took, they actually got the cover on the first photo because the photographer told Toyah, "Yeah, got it." Now, as you can imagine, in 1980-81, Toyah was a complete individualist. I mean, she looked totally different from everybody else. I can remember also things like, I think in 1980 she did a TV program on the BBC called Friday Night, Saturday Morning, which was a late night chat show, and she was the host. And if I remember rightly, she had Steve Strange on, and also she had Vivian Stanchel, who she said it was so hard to work with. But I guess it goes well on the CV. She did a really good job. I remember watching the program. And there's lots of photos in here. I mean, Toyah was really, really good at mixing medias up. So she loved film, she loved recording, she loved the imagery and photographs, and she liked doing lots of interviews as well with various magazines. She's probably way ahead of her time there. And she was doing lots of sessions like this, which were in all the magazines and things like that. Of course, the NME at the time were running interviews. In fact, all the music press were running interviews with her at that time. And you get all the details in these sleeve notes here in the book. And it's really interesting when you read about what was going on at the time. Of course, I think in about 1980, 81 or late 79, there was a sort of definite move towards the new romantic sort of movement, if you like, which was very, very popular. And of course, that's probably why she had Steve Strange on, who is a big leader in the sort of area of club scene, which the sort of new romantics kind of revolved around. Quite a few bands came out of that scene. I'm not sure whether Toyah could have been called new romantic, punk, new wave, or anything. She was so individualistic and really out there on her own. So anyway, this was the first Toyah album, Sheep Farming in Barnet. Takes me back to my youth. I was 21 when this came out, a very young man. But I really caught on to Toyah in a big way. And of course, she's still as big as she ever was now. She goes out and tours, which of course, hopefully she'll be able to do when all this COVID situation has changed. And she's currently recording a brand new studio album as well. So this is out now in the shops through Cherry Red. And as I said, all the Safari albums that came out in the 70s and 80s, like this, right the way through to Love is the Law, which was kind of 83, 84, they're all coming out in expanded editions. The next one will be in May, and that is The Blue Meaning, which is a really dark album. I'm really looking forward to doing something with that as well. But this is a must-have if you're a Toyah fan. And even if you're not a Toyah fan, there's a lot on here that will interest you. Also on the CDs and the DVD. The DVD is great. Lots of unseen footage on there, certainly not seen for over 40 years, which is great. So there you go. From Cherry Red Records, Toyah, Sheep Farming in Barnet, the expanded edition.